Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. The most anticipated event in motion picture history commenced December 21st. Star Trek the Motion Picture. Now, I've enjoyed being on the Star Trek Motion Picture Facebook fan group and looking at a lot of people's collections and just random pieces of merchandise and stuff, and I sort of thought I'd make a little video of my own merchandise. Now that is just a little promotional thing I found for Star Trek the Motion Picture. Thought I'd start off there. My next favourite thing, the Star Trek Photo Story, which is a photo novel of, well, if you've seen one, you know it's basically the images from the film. I've got a Star Trek the Motion Picture card using as a bookmark. And they just go through and tell the story of the film with images and use captions, the dialogue, kind of like a comic book. They did it with the original series, they did episodes like that. And this is the kind of thing people did to keep the films alive in between the movies and TV screenings and video or DVD releases. Before we had the internet and streaming, we could view things on demand whenever we wanted to. So we had a lot of comic adaptations, story books, novel adaptations, all these sort of things that you would keep. And they keep you in the movie and keep you until the next opportunity. So that was one of my favourite things. I found that at a convention and it was auctioned. And it's the only thing I've ever bought in an auction in my life. I got it for the exact amount of money I had in my pocket. If there'd been one more bid, I would have lost it. And it was really stressful. I never want to bid for a collectible ever again. Next is Chekhov's Enterprise, which was Walter Koenig's journal while he made Star Trek the Motion Picture. And for some stupid reason, I've met him twice, and it never occurred to me to ask him to sign the damn book. Probably because I meant to get him to sign his actual autobiography, Warped Factors, which I didn't have in a hardcover, so I didn't do it. Now, it's mostly text. It has a few pages of black and white pictures, and I can't really show you without bending the spine, which I'm not going to do. But I still haven't read it. I sort of was saving it for an anniversary, and just like this book, it's probably going to get read December this year, because I didn't do it for the 30th anniversary, so it looks like the 40th anniversary it's going to be done. And this is a much more extensive book, which covers all the whole production, and not just from one person's perspective, like Chekhov's story. And eventually, it has a fair amount of pictures, budget, a lot of information. It's got a section of colour photography. Look at that. So I guess if you haven't seen this book, a lot of things I see on the internet and eBay, you get like a cover and a back, but I really like when people do videos and actually take you on a little tour of their collections or something they're selling or just something of interest to them. And like I said, there's pictures spread out throughout the book in black and white. And also, I haven't read it, so I have to try and read that this December. And now we have the Cinefex magazine, #1, because it launched Cinefex. Star Trek the Motion Picture launched a few magazines and things at the time. And this has 2 articles. One is about the effects of the motion picture. Cinefex is basically just an industry effects book. And the second half of the book is Alien, which stole the Academy Award from Star Trek that year, because Star Trek was so late and last minute in its production that some mistakes slipped into the effects, Whereas Alien, which had far less extensive or interesting or creative effects, at least they had the time to do everything without any mistakes, so they lost for that. And yes, it's not an Alien video, so I'm not going to go through all that. And now we have a little Star Trek the Motion Picture poster book, which of course is in very bad condition. So it does still have some nice images in there, and a little bit of information. And eventually folds out to a poster of the crew. Oh, and I just tore it. Great. And the Enterprise, which I cannot get in a shot, which unfortunately is held together by sticky tape. Now this is not originally mine, so I would have kept it in much better condition than whoever owned that, but at least I got it. Didn't even know it existed. Now we have the program from the premiere, I guess, or just the when you went to see the film, you had the option of buying the program. I've only gotten a couple of programs from movies, because they're not done that often. They were more common in the old days. But lots of pictures, information about the cast, production, the aliens. Nice little pictures of the Enterprise. Now this is just a little fold-out magazine I got from someone years ago, but it did have a poster of the Enterprise, so that's why that's in there. More production notes, production pictures, information, and a really annoying ad at the back that has nothing to do with Star Trek the Motion Picture. I hate it when they have them in there. And then we have, let's see, the book and record sets. Now, they did a lot of these now based in the original series, even though somehow Uhura is white and blonde, but we won't talk about that. And they repackaged them, or packaged them in the first place, with covers using artwork or pictures from Star Trek the Motion Picture to coincide and feed off the success of the film. Although, as I said, inside the original series, the artwork is quite good actually. The stories are a bit off point. Now we have the motion picture adaptation. I've got two of them, hardcover and Marvel Super Special. Look at this one first. This one I like because it's hardcover and it's got some artwork that I hadn't seen before. It used to have a section in the middle that was about the film. It should have been at the back. It was really annoying in the middle, so I tore it out and put it in a folio full of articles and just closed the gap. So now it's just like the adaptation with no interruption. Now the printing is great, the paper is great, it looks brand new. Now unfortunately the month-to-month comics, which Marvel did, the quality of the paper and the printing was really bad and they don't look very good. Unfortunately for this one, they got the pages wrong, not in the wrong order, but they just started on the wrong side. So as Enterprise leaves space dock, her butt end is on the other page, when it should be one image over a double page spread. So they adapted the film in 3 parts, and they put them all in this one without any posters or anything. And the artwork's pretty good. Probably the most interesting thing, which I hope I haven't already gone past, is sometimes with these adaptions you would get scenes that were in the script but not filmed that were put in the comic adaptation, like Kirk and Spock going into Vija together, and the memory wall scene, and, well, it's probably the only adaptation that we'll ever see, because it was never filmed. They just did some test film, and then they reshot it with Spock alone. And it ends with the final page on the back of the book, when they really should have had the supplementary bonus material in the back. Now, the Marvel Super Special, which is probably going to not sit very well. I have to prop it up. The printing is the same, but the paper is not as good. So it's yellowed a bit and doesn't look as good. Not sure if that's clear, but at least the Enterprise has its butt attached. So you've seen all of that. And yeah, I had the separate 3-part adaptation. I had all the Marvel did a Star Trek, post-Star Trek motion picture series of comics around 1980. They did 16 issues, I think. I had all of them. And when I got the comic collection on DVD-ROM, I got rid of it because the quality of the scans looked better than the actual comics in person. And I also had the reprinted omnibus from IDW. And this one has a little bit of supplementary material in the correct place at the back. So it's just an article about the production and an interview and a glossary and a few images and a nice shot of the Enterprise. And now, probably my favourite thing, which kind of motivated me to do this in the first place, is my newest find, which is the USS Enterprise Bridge Punch-Out book, which has parts of the bridge, and you can put it all together and create your own bridge. So these are all the parts. I pulled out all the pages so I could look at them, and whenever you try to turn them over, half of them come out anyway. I actually believe in playing with your toys and looking at your collectibles and opening them up and enjoying them instead of holding them forever, because what's the point? You just die and someone else gets them and either does the same thing and they never get opened, or they end up playing with them and having the fun. So I will eventually put this together when I have room for it, or I have somewhere where I can keep it safe so it doesn't get scrunched. I considered printing it on plastic and making a version of it that's made out of plastic. So I keep the original intact and have a more sturdy version, and I'm looking into doing that, but it might be too difficult. So it tells you how to put it all together, and that's eventually what you end up with, which I think is in scale with the model of the original Enterprise bridge from the ATM model series. And this is just my little Star Trek movies folio. So I've got an ad for the movie, Star Trek soundtrack, the motion picture anniversary soundtrack in there, and the cards. See, I bought a few packs of the cards, and the back of them have stickers, and the back of them they have make posters of the Enterprise and the cast. And I bought some separate packets, and then I also bought a large uncut section of cards, and I cut it so I could put it in my folio. So some collectors would be horrified at things like that. And I also had the box, and I ended up cutting that up, cutting off the panels that had images and stripping the cardboard off the back, so they're basically like paper, just the printed side, and again slipping them in the folio so they take up a lot less space. And of course there's the wrapper for the bubble gum and card, and that's one of the original posters from the comic, from another comic. And the stuff like Chronology, I just kept the cover and scanned the rest of it. One of the early motion picture soundtracks, the special edition. Actually, that's the special edition. And the other one is an early CD soundtrack. Postcard. Different movie tie-ins. The novel adaptations from Titan and Pocket Books. The original VHS cover. I'm not sure if I should try and do it this way. Yeah, I should. I should have done that in the first place. So yeah, the motion picture, the earlier one, the special edition for the 20th anniversary, the novelisation by Gene Roddenberry in Titan and Pocketbook editions, and different versions of that as well, and the VHS release, of the widescreen version, the extended version, and of course the director's edition, which also was available as a video, which I have, as well as the DVD. Some postcards, and then we get into Star Trek 2, which I'm not doing. I guess the last two things, which are kind of the era, because this is supposed to be the actual vintage stuff, not any of the reprint or re-release stuff. This is a book on Phase 2, which is sort of the first one that I know of, which is all about the production of Phase 2, which sort of became Star Trek the Motion Picture, and if you don't know that story, I'm not going to take the time to tell it to you. There's a lot of images in there, although I can't see any now, but yeah, there's some images, some scripts, a lot of information, and a nice little colour section of images. From the design, a lot of these designs were carried into the motion picture, some weren't. Some you've seen, some I'd never seen before this. Screen tests, designing the ship, building the ship, things that eventually ended up being Star Trek in Star Trek the Motion Picture, V'Ger, a lot of the production work for that. They did a TV movie, they did a TV series and a TV movie, and then TV series and then a movie, and eventually ended up being a movie. And the only other thing is Miss Scott's Guide to the Enterprise, which, even though I think it was produced around the time of Star Trek 2, 3, 4, a lot of the artwork in it, the images in it, are from Star Trek the Motion Picture, some of the design work and that, some of the what do you call them? The sketches and the floor layouts and that are for sets that they created for Star Trek the Motion Picture, but as you can see, the uniforms from Star Trek 2. So I think it was finished, I think they started it. They started work on this, or used work from the motion picture, but continued through Star Trek 2 production at least, before it was released. Because it has the 2 and 3 phases from 1, 2 and 3, and they were used in 4 as well, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly. So that's all my vintage Star Trek motion picture collectibles that I can think of to find. Hopefully there's something that you hadn't seen before and it was interesting. Thanks.